Son, where'd you find this?
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
The flow insane, take my spot, so the range. Shoot my shot with perfect aim. 3rd degree, that perfect flame. Ain't no sleep, that's the game. Oh, so southern, that's the slang. When they see me, that's the main. Chasing checks and fly like planes. Big old stick, I bought a cane. Flick my wrist and bought the ring. I'm so boss, we're not the same. Paid the cost and kept the change. Now I'm walking Hall of Fame. And I reside in the cloud. Grand wishes with these bitches. Taking pictures with the crowd, and I'm out.
Yo, 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 yo. What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Monday, peoples. Peace, blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. I hope all is well with each and every single one of you. Good to be here. Good to see you. Shout out to my poets, writers, content creators, all that good stuff in between time and meantime. I hope your weekend was well. I hope your week has started off extraordinary. Of course, do me a solid like, share, hype, repost. Let the people know that we are on. You see the title. We're going to chop it up here in just a second. I'm going to bring my peoples up here to the big screen. They got Rob in the building. I got Sydney in the building. And we're going to get it in. Make sure that you go support, show them love, open them with some warm welcome, you know. Let's get this show started. Let me bring everybody up here to the big screen really quick. Yo, yo, yo.
Yeah. How y'all doing? What up?
Good. What's
How
the
you guys
word?
doing?
All right, all right. How about yourself?
Pretty good. Today's my birthday.
Yeah.
Making my way up the totem pole.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Happy birthday. How you feeling? You hitting that mark?
Pretty good. I honestly feel like as I get older, things get better. Like my teens were really stressful. My 20s were really stressful, but now that I'm like getting into a rhythm with life and I'm accomplishing all the things that I dreamed of doing, especially within the timeline, because I always was, especially as a teen, like by the time I'm 30, I want to publish, have kids, get married, stuff like that. And I've accomplished everything. So it's cool being at this point, being able to be like, okay, I did something. I was like stressed out all through school era about like, I'm never going to be able to do everything because, you know, school's stressful and they throw a lot on you. So it's pretty cool being here. And I feel like my 30s will be smooth and more enjoyable than my previous decade. 31.
That's what's up. Damn, I didn't realize you was all right. All right, man. I'm gonna tell you,
Baby.
enjoy. Exactly what I was thinking too, bro. Enjoy, because just like that,
Yeah.
them years just fly, man. You're gonna be sitting here like me and Rob, like.
Especially when kids are involved, because then you're distracted by their growth that you don't notice your own. And then, like 5-10 years later, you're like, oh, wow, I really shouldn't have done XYZ.
Facts. Hey, Brandon, you might be the youngest one up here. I don't even know, man. What's good with you, bro?
Oh.
I guess he got something going on.
You spooked him.
Yeah. Well, look, while he's figuring out his situation, man, I'm gonna bring this up on the big screen. And we're gonna chop it up. I don't even know what to say other than I'm gonna let y'all see for yourself. To everybody that's watching, man, this is an interesting one.
I'm excited for this.
I am marrying a man that was just in prison for the last 13 years.
Hold on, because y'all are not ready for what he went to prison for. This man planned a mass pew-pewing at a movie theater and a Walmart in 2012. He thought of the plan after he had seen a movie about Columbine and considered emulating it. He purchased 2 AR blanks and engaged in target practice. He wanted to carry his plan out during the opening weekend of Twilight. Why Twilight? Because it was the biggest premiere at the time. Let that sink in. The biggest premiere means more people. And the only reason no one was physically hurt is because his mother found the receipt to the GUNS and contacted the police. Fast forward to now, he's out of prison. They meet on Tinder. 6 weeks later, they're engaged and he's living with her. 6 weeks. And she's online defending him, saying he basically shouldn't feel regret because no one got hurt.
I'm not sure exactly how much regret you can have when no one got hurt. I'm sorry. I think we've all thought bad things at one point or another. I know I have,
Okay, first of all, nobody got hurt because he got caught. And second of all, no, I've never thought about pew-pewing a bunch of innocent people. She kept making excuses for him, and then she says he didn't even have a plan.
I'm not trying to convince anybody. If I didn't think he was a good person, I would have met him. He is definitely not controlling me. I think the U.S. was in a very difficult time. I think it's the same year Sandy Hook happened, and they wanted to make an example out of him. We both have BPD. Sandy Hook was definitely not okay. That's where people got hurt. Literally, people, kids died. So that, if he was that man, of course, we would not be here right now. To say that it's planned, so when you make a plan, you have steps towards a goal. He did not even have those. Do you know what steps are? Yeah, which he didn't have any of those.
What is this girl thinking? I'm genuinely worried for her. I would not be shocked if this relationship ends up being talked about in the headlines. You know what I mean? What do y'all think? Is this love? Is this manipulation? Share your thoughts in the comments.
I am marrying a man that was just in prison for the last 13
Max,
years.
Brandon.
Hold on, because y'all are not ready for what.
Hold on, let me stop. Let me get this up off here. I hope everything well with both of y'all. Hopefully everybody got a chance to see this clip, man. But just a quick recap. The brother tried to shoot up a certain spot. Didn't go as well as he planned. He ended up going to jail for it. He got released. He ended up getting into communication with this woman here. Now they're engaged. She defends him online. That's the gist of it. Sydney, you want to start us off? Your initial thoughts on the video? Is it love? Is it force?
Wow. Okay. So I was the one that sent in this topic because as soon as I watched it, I was like, oh, there's a conversation to be had here. I truly believe that they are both. He is using her, and she is desperate enough to overlook some crucial details about this person. She's 1,000% in the honeymoon stage where she thinks that they can do nothing wrong and that they're being genuine with her. And people with those types of minds generally are very good at manipulating people into believing their sincerity, especially if you've had experience of going through the prison system as well, because that is going to further antagonize any existing mental illness problems. And the fact that she's the video that I watched, she, for the first couple weeks that she was on social media about it, or the first time that she talked about this, addressed everyone's like concerns, she didn't openly say what he did. She refused to say that he planned a mass shooting, which the person in the video also didn't mention that he was planning on shooting up a movie theater and a Walmart. So he wanted to make a big impact with his crime. And I believe that he's manipulating her into having a place to stay, because when you get out of prison, you're required to show that you have habitation of some sort. And he's on parole right now. And so he likely needed a place to stay and maybe doesn't have anywhere else to go. So I feel like he's using her for housing and possibly like income help type stuff, like food and whatever. And I just think she's so enamored that she's logic is not in her head right now.
Rob, Brandon, don't matter. Max,
I'm gonna let somebody go first before me. 'Cause I didn't see all the video. I just seen bits and pieces. Like that connection issue.
Gotcha.
Go ahead, Max. Go ahead.
I'm
waiting for picking. No, they So my understanding is that she was a assistant to this crime. Is that the story?
So the guy, he planned to shoot in a store, in a theater.
I'm a little confused as to what's the girl's part in all this.
Her part is she ended up getting engaged to the man after only knowing him for 6 weeks, knowing the crime that he committed. I might have to just play the video back. I might just do that.
I don't know if anyone's talking.
Hold up. I'll play it back one more time. Let me bring this up here real quick.
Can you hear me? I can't. I don't know if anything's happening. Because I asked what's the deal for girls' part in all this. I didn't catch much of anything.
1 second. I'm gonna play it again.
But marrying a man that was just in prison for the last 13 years.
Hold on, because y'all are not ready for what he went to prison for. This man planned a mass pew-pewing at a movie theater and a Walmart in 2012. He thought of the plan after he had seen a movie about Columbine and considered emulating it. He purchased 2 AR blank blanks and engaged in target practice. He wanted to carry his plan out during the opening weekend of Twilight. Why Twilight? Because it was the biggest premiere at the time. Let that sink in. The biggest premiere means more people. And the only reason no one was physically hurt is because his mother found the receipt to the GUNS and contacted the police. Fast forward to now, he's out of prison. They meet on Tinder. 6 weeks later, they're engaged and he's living with her. 6 weeks. And she's online defending him, saying he basically shouldn't feel regret because no one got hurt.
I'm not sure exactly how much regret you can have when no one got hurt. I'm sorry. I think we've all thought bad things at one point or another. I know I have.
Okay, first of all, nobody got hurt because he got caught. And second of all, no, I've never thought about pew-pewing a bunch of innocent people. She kept making excuses for him, and then she says he didn't even have a plan.
I'm not trying to convince anybody. If I didn't think he was a good person, I would have met him. He is definitely not controlling me. I think the U.S. was in a time. I think it's the same year Sandy Hook happened. They wanted to make an example out of it. We both have BPD. Sandy Hook was definitely not okay. That's where people got hurt. Literally, people, kids. That, if he hadn't, then of course we would not be here right now. To say that it's planned, so when you make a plan, you have steps towards a goal. He did not even have those. Do you know what steps are? Yeah, which he didn't have any of those.
What is this girl thinking? I'm genuinely worried for her. I would not be shocked if this relationship ends up being talked about in the headlines. You know what I mean? What do y'all think? Is this?
So there you have it. You got the full story, the full context. You even got her commentary to go with it. So I give the mic over to anybody who wants to retort this. I mean, Sydney already gave her initial thoughts on it, so
She's delusional. I gotta say that. I thought the video was shorter than that. I mean, longer than that. That's why I said I couldn't say nothing. But yeah, she's delusional. I feel like, and that was dumb for her to say because he didn't execute the plan. He's innocent or quote unquote. I just feel like she's stigmatized, to be honest. And she never had love in her life, and she just seen somebody that actually loved her, but he probably using her for real just to get out and get to a home. But yeah, and 6 weeks is crazy. Like, I'm not even marrying you after 3 years. Like, I mean, I'll gauge you after 3 years, but that's it. 6 weeks is crazy. But they might be there for a long time though, just because he could hold out, and she gonna take it. And I know he don't got no job. I just know it.
Hey, yo, you all right? Yo, people be crazy. Be like, I'm thinking she might have been down with it. That's my first thought off rip. Because when the first movie I thought about was the one with Mickey Mallory with what's that man, Lee Harrelson. It's an old joint. I forget the name of it, but remember they went on a killing spree. I forget, but a lot of times, first of all, you don't know him from a can of paint. You know what I'm saying? And the way she sound like she got a lot of disdain in her heart. I am saying, hey, to where if she could participate, she might have participated with him. But when he get caught, you feel me? Like, oh, nah, well, come on. He could take that on the chin and go by himself. You know what I'm saying? People do it all the time, whatever, make sure that their lady don't go down with him. But that was delusional. I'm with both of y'all. I don't know, what he was in there for or whatever. And I've seen people who have totally reformed their lives after they came out of prison. Very good people, unfortunately, victims of their circumstances. But clearly it didn't work if you want to come home and do that. You know what I'm saying? And anybody that want to be around somebody like that is cuckoo. For the simple fact that I had to learn the hard way, you don't hurt innocence. You don't hurt innocence. Whatever problem you got with a person, you take it over there to that person. Say what you got to say. You don't hurt nobody unless it's totally in self-defense. So for you to want to just go hurt innocent people, that means you a coward. And anybody still standing behind you with that is cowards too.
I agree. And to add a little bit more to that, you see this time and time again. This ain't brand new. When you come from a broken home, or maybe you just had a lot of trauma in your life, you tend to try to gravitate and cope by supplementing certain things. Maybe with some people it's smoking, other people it might be getting tattoos, using pain as a way to replace that hurt. Some people just are professional womanizers. Some people are anti America and they want to see it burn to the ground. But when you got people that are broken like that, it's more easy to get them to be complicit to things that you believe in because they want to be a part of something. Anything to distract from what they don't know how to deal with. 6 weeks is crazy, bro. 6 weeks, you don't know nothing about them. 6 weeks sounds like you got on this app, or you probably already had a profile. You weren't really getting the greatest success on there. You probably had a little nice roster. None of them really lasted long. You came across this profile. You gravitated towards it, and then you just automatically clung to it. That became your vice. That became like your comfort zone, something, and then it just went from there. Do I think it's love? No, hell no. Mind you, that was a couple years ago. That video is fairly old, so I'm not really sure where they are right now. I can't really see them still being together for real. It looked like it's survival mode for both parties. From the standpoint of, well, like you said, he was just getting out of prison. He probably didn't have too much going on. He needed some resources and a roof. And she needed love. She needed a warm body next to her. It didn't really matter if it was a healthy relationship or not. Are you?
Another thing to bring up is the fact that they have, she said BPD. She either means borderline personality disorder or bipolar disorder. Some people hyphen it differently. But regardless, if they both have either borderline or bipolar, that is a really toxic mix if they have not done work to manage their mental health. Especially, I mean, not especially, but both of them lead to dysfunctional relationships with other people if they aren't paying attention to their symptoms and managing them in healthy ways. And I can almost guarantee that somebody who's been in prison for 13 years does not have his mental health straight. And overwhelmingly, prisoners who are in for a long period of time already have a hard time adjusting back to societal life. And so he's going to be going through that as well. And the fact, so getting back to the disorders with borderline, if she has borderline personality disorder, oftentimes they get very attached to people because of their dysfunction with thinking. And so they're more likely to get obsessed over somebody if they're getting positive feedback. And so I feel like that's also a component, but having them both like that, they're prone to like outrage and like more prone to self-harm or hurting other people, as we've already seen. So yeah, just like what you said, I don't think the relationship's going to go very far. I really, really think this is just a relationship of advantage, and she's just kind of in the clouds. And I will say, I think this was recent. Their engagement was recent, but because his crime was back in 2014. So I think this was a somewhat recent story. And also, just to throw out there, like, 6 weeks isn't even enough to get used to somebody. It takes about 21 days to start becoming used to a certain relationship or routine. And so that wasn't even really enough time for them to figure anything out about each other. So he's going to be extra deceptive. He can be extra deceptive to her, and she'll have no idea because she doesn't know who he is.
Right. She don't know what tissue he used. Like, come on now. Like, she gotta get to know this man. It's crazy. It's bad. And it's like 6 weeks is, you know nothing about somebody in 6 weeks. You barely know somebody in a year. I feel like she's just desperate and just lonely. And like you said, she had a disorder. I didn't know that was part of the disorder, attachment. So that adds a factor into it also.
What do you say to somebody who tells you they fell in love with somebody within 6 weeks?
Like,
that is not love. I promise.
It's not.
I mean, but you like, you know, and I think we've all at least met somebody at some point where they were like, "Oh, I got the perfect this," and you're looking at them like, but you try to say something to them, and it's like, you just hate and you just jealous, or they get real defensive because you saying something to them, but you're the one on the outside looking in. You know, I've even been on that side of the fence before, looking at these like, oh, we like the color blue, and we like to eat pizza. Cool, all right, but bro, you're not locked in like you think you are with this person.
Yeah, a lot of times, you know, you think it's love at first sight until you start seeing the future, or until you did the do. Most of the time, when you do the do, you be like, "Oh boy, what did I just get myself to, and how do I get out of this?" That movie was Natural Born Killers. Said you're kind of young. Yeah, Brandon, you're kind of young. I don't know, but if y'all ever get a chance, y'all need to go watch that, stream that, whatever, do that, Hulu, Fire Stick, bootleg it, whichever. But I could just see their conversations. And if you're with this person like that, even in 6 weeks, y'all talking, you know what I'm saying? I'll do this and I'll do that, then I'll do this and that, da, 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 da. And like I said, you could see it in her seriousness, because anybody else would not have posted that serious. They would have been like, "Yo, I was freaked out. I didn't know." Da, 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 da. She wasn't even really scared of the repercussions. Like you said, you put it in the message. Oh, well, he ain't carry it out. Like, what you mean? He ain't carry, you know what I'm saying? It's the type of stuff he thinking, because at the end of the day, what you don't know, what happened if his plan don't go or whatever, and he turn on you. So that's how I know, because one thing, whatever, 2 weeks, 2 days, 6 weeks, birds of a feather flock together. So whatever he was thinking, she was thinking it too, because you're not gonna let that person move in. And I've seen situations like that where a person, I've seen a good girl let a guy in that was locked up, and he ended up unaliving her. And I'm still hurt. The whole community is still hurt to this day because this was a good person. Um, she was just trying to help. And a lot of times, we are attracted to people we shouldn't be around. So again, I could see those conversations. Yeah, I'd do this, and if it was me, I would have did this and that. Well, you know what? Da 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 da. Well, you gotta act like you don't know nothing or whatever. But don't worry, we're gonna get it done. Unless she said, clearly she wasn't gonna go with him. And a lot of times been in positions where even I've talked like I was gonna do this and that, and got in these situations and they do nothing. Ran with my tail tucked between my legs. So I know that a lot of times people talk till it's time to get it done, or when the time the heat come on you. So by the time the folks probably found out, now you got to change that story. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, there ain't no way in the world he just come home like that after doing this almost going in for the same thing, and then you come home and you all peace, but you secretly planning that on the low. And then how you get a weapon and I don't know the case if he was a felon. I know you could easily buy it in the streets, but if you went to the store and got that, like how, I would kind of like to know how you getting that if you just came out under them circumstances, unless your charges was just totally dropped.
I wanted to add, so the key components of bipolar, the key symptoms of borderline: fear of abandonment, unstable relationships, distorted self-image, impulsivity, emotional swings, chronic emptiness and feelings of worthlessness, and potential stress-related paranoia. And then with borderline, I'm sure a lot of people know, but it's fluctuations in mood. So you can go from depression symptoms of some kinds to a manic stage where you're more obsessive and you could fall into any sort of bad habits excessively. So either way, if they both have those conditions and neither of them have the experience to work with their emotions, which judging by her response to this relationship, she probably doesn't. Once those negative symptoms start hitting, that's just not gonna work. That is a recipe for disaster. And that lady, even in the video, said that like they could end up as a headline.
She doesn't sound like she has a problem at all. She talks normal, but you listen to her speak, you're scared. You're in fear of her being out in public with this guy, because all he got to do is you watch a movie where it's this charming, well-dressed guy, billionaire. He gives a speech and a toast at a gala or some shit, and he starts quoting Socrates and some shit like that, and he says, "To all of my gentlemen and my women out here, I would like to quote such and such and such and such from 1967, and a man once said, if you such, and people be eating that shit up. And then the next thing you know, you got somebody who is so enthralled by what you said, they think like you just got everything all together the whole time. This man, his blueprint and this ideology was based off of Columbine, a mass shooting. But you mean to tell me that there was a conversation between you and him within 6 weeks, given the information that you knew about him, that stirred you in the direction of, oh, he's going to be a protector, a provider, he's going to be able to, and I'm not talking about, oh, he's going to jump in front of bullets and fight bodyguards and all. I'm talking about protect you mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and everything else in between. You mean to tell me that you had enough interactions with him to determine that he was a viable candidate for procreation? I think not. So, like what you and Rob said and what Brandon said, I agree. And actually it takes it back to the fact that one is mental health month for men. Secondly, mental health does not get talked about nearly enough. The effects that it have on people, the limits and the lengths people will go to try to impress a person or to try to keep you around or try to fit in is scary. And it's a cautionary tale that we ignore way too often. But in order for her to have blended in with him like she did, there must be something that they have in common. I don't know if it's the fact that he chose violence and she likes that to a certain extent because maybe she was treated differently by people and so they relate, or maybe it's something else. But yeah.
I'm gonna read Maximilian Mejia. He says she married someone who committed a wild crime and brushed it off as nothing. The fact he planned it didn't ring bells. I'm not sure how to respond. Don't dismiss the fact that he tried to do it. Yeah, you're not getting away that easy. Go ahead, Sid.
I was gonna say it was wild how she was saying, oh, he wasn't taking any of the steps to put this into action. I'm like, he researched, he bought a weapon, he had plans. I'm like, what do you mean he didn't take the steps? Like, if you're watching somebody, this is super mundane example, but if you're in the kitchen watching somebody pull out the peanut butter, pull out the jelly, pull out the bread, you aren't going to be like, oh, they're probably not going to make a sandwich. Like, it, her logic is so like, I don't understand how just the fact that he bought the gun, like, that seals the deal. Like, nobody is going to get that far and then do nothing. Like, it's rare. Once they've hit that tipping point, it's usually inevitable unless somebody catches them. And yeah, I just do not understand how they can overlook that. I like my own husband, he does not have a history, but when I was dating, I met somebody who had been in prison or something like that. He had run-ins with the law, and I could not get past that part, and I just cut off all association with the person. So yeah, I really don't get how you can overlook something that severe, because I would always have that in my mind. Like, what if he gets those thoughts towards me? Like, what if he decides that I'm going to be his next victim? So yeah, there's something dysfunctional with her, socially, emotionally, something.
And then also, if you think about it, he did study how he was gonna do everything, and then the one main target audience for Twilight is teenagers, so he's gonna kill a bunch of teenagers. So you got to look at it like that. She was slow. She was stupid. I don't know.
Right, Twilight. I mean,
Yeah, Twilight.
you might. I don't know. I wasn't too much a fan of the movie. You might be mad because I don't know, but at the same time, no, you don't hurt innocent people. You want to go hurt a bunch of people that ain't do nothing to you? That's not a hero. Even that, I'm not a fan of that Joker movie. I'm probably the only one too, because all they look like to me, I paid attention for the first 20 minutes. He was bullied And then that was his excuse to go hurt innocent people. He didn't bother the people that bullied him. So I don't get to this day what was the big deal. It's just, to me, it's a scapegoat. It's an excuse for people to act out, and we know how a lot of people are when they feel like they're not heard, when they feel like they don't have no say or people are rejecting them, then they want to go make this statement. And again, you don't do it like that. I was hurt before, and then I wanted to be a thug. I wanted to be a gangster. You know what I'm saying? And for a second, I used to be like, well, man, I'm gonna go get busy. But then at the end of the day, it was just like, why would you hurt innocent people? Because I definitely don't want nobody running up on my people. You know what I'm saying? And doing nothing to them, especially in a place of karma because I did something stupid. So no, when I'm thinking of, I know at least 3 people right now who did long, very long prison stints and came home and are highly successful because they reformed themselves. They stayed in the library. They got right. They learned where they went wrong at. They got tired of getting in trouble first thing, and they didn't want to hurt nobody anymore. And then they're not going back. You know what I mean? So now they become civilians. They're very influential in the community where they do a lot of public speaking. They do a lot of mentoring. They definitely, every chance they get, they pushing the kids in the right direction. So no, you can't, you know what I mean? One thing to do something violent, whoopty whoop, but then you come home and you still on that, nah, you ain't learned anybody again. I don't care how long it was. If you supporting that, then yeah, you gotta go too.
Yeah, you know what? I don't really feel bad for him specifically because that's a conscious decision. You mapped all that out. Like if you was trying to plead insanity or say, well, something is off with me, so I need a little leniency, I wouldn't even buy that if I was a judge. Because you literally had to get online, sit in front of a laptop or a phone, do research, scroll, and like City had said in the messages, 400 rounds. Or like the man was preparing, and he had a specific demographic that he was going after. Twilight is not really a movie for adults. It's typically for teenagers and that age group. Yeah, there's adults that like the movie, but come on. So he was basically coordinating I can't think of the right word for it. Context clues would lead me to believe that there's nothing safe or normal about this human being. But of course, you only know that when you ask the right questions and you're really trying to figure out who you're dealing with instead of saying, all right, well, they're doable. They're attractive enough. I can tolerate this for a little bit. Now it's not that bad. Oh, they got a booger up their nose. They can do something about that. They might be a little short. That's cool. But like, nah. Bro was definitely off his stuff. But that goes into another question I got too. Is it really safe to go that route? Dating apps in 2026, dating apps, dating inmates. Is that something that you would like? It's not really our business, but I mean, given the circumstances, do you really advise that for people?
I say that, like, personally, now with my experience, I probably would not go for online dating because online dating is vastly different from when I was using it 10 years ago. Um, And the one that I was using was specifically for people in my age group, so it wasn't, I don't know, it seemed a little less unhinged than stuff like Tinder. Um, I some people don't have an option to date physically. Maybe they travel a lot or whatever. So having apps, I think, is okay, but I think people need to start using a lot more thought when they get in relationships, because a lot of people judge the relationship based on feelings and not compatibility, because you can love somebody's personality, but living together drives you crazy. Like, whatever habits that person has does not mesh with yours, the schedules don't mesh, the social lives don't mesh. But sometimes people are willing to overlook all of those important details just because they're feeling emotional. And obviously, emotion does not stay, it's not a stagnant feature of anything. And they can expect that one day there's going to be very difficult times. Like, that was one of the ways that I knew I could trust my husband. We've been together 11 years now. Because in the early days, we got evicted from an apartment. He went through the death of his dad. I went through the death of my own dad. We were jumping around from place to place, like couch surfing. And we went through periods where he didn't have a job. We went through periods where I mean, even now, I don't have a job. We've been through so much. I know that he's somebody that I can trust, that will be there for me, is like, I've seen him work on himself and build on his personality and habits in a positive direction. And so those are the types of things that tell you whether a relationship is going to be good or not whether you can have fun together. He makes you laugh. You enjoy going to the beach together. I'm like, those are nice things, but those are complementary. Those are not rooted in like necessity. So I think if you're going to use apps, make sure that you're not predominantly spending your relationship online and expecting that you know that person. Like, you need to see what their house is like. You need to see how they are at jobs. All sorts of different behaviors in life need to be witnessed, because you can hide that super easily behind a computer, behind texting, behind just phone calls, because they can act sweet for 20 minutes and stuff like that. So you need to make sure that before you even decide to hitch your wagon to that person, you need to live with them. And sure, she's doing that, but she didn't give herself a chance to make sure he was a safe person, because you also want to see how they live independently, because living with somebody will change your personality for a while until you adjust to the new normal. And so he's likely going to be hiding a lot of his negative traits and trying to be like gracious and whatever. And that's not going to give data of what that relationship is going to be like going into the future. So make sure you spend the time to actually know the person if you're going to be using dating apps.
Yeah, I feel like dating apps always, it takes away from the reality of any situation. And I feel like a lot of people are scared of reality, so they use dating apps just to keep going and going and going, get rejected, swipe left, right, whatever it is. But it's just like, I feel like the girl that got engaged to him, I feel like that's all she used was dating apps, to be honest. I feel like she don't know nothing else. But she found who she found and they connected.
Again, I'm giving small samples. I can't speak for the whole general public, but I know people who met on dating apps and married, had kids, running businesses. I think that's a difference in mentality. I think the good thing now is that you could almost find anybody's background. You could pull up their Instagram, and it's gotten so weird now that if you can't find them on Instagram, they'll think that you're not a human person, which is bad and good. But I think a lot of times, like you said, B, people don't have the time, to be outside, this and that, and on a safe app, safe apps, as long as they're telling the truth, they know what they want, it can work. You know what I'm saying? Not for everybody, because unfortunately people lie. And like Sydney said, at the end of the day, people change every day. You're not the same person you was yesterday. You're definitely not going to be the same person you was a year ago. So it can work. I think it's a lot smaller cases, but I think it's similar the way without the internet. It's about the same way, because most people, again, when we want what we can't have, and then until you mature, you think you're gonna love everybody that you talk to. You know what I'm saying? It's the one. It's the one. How many times you went back to your parents, that one parent you could trust, and said that's the one, and then they tell you, nah, that ain't the one for you, but that ain't gonna work, da da da. And then you go towards them and want them even more. You hate and you don't know me. You think you know everything. You can't control me. And then you got two types of people: the people that don't acknowledge it when it hits the fan, and then you got the people that say, you know what, you told me. So I think it's a case by case analysis to where the internet could work. It could bring, because it has the potential to bring people together from different places and time and space. Unmute your mic.
Thank you. I just had this conversation with my brothers from church last week. We was discussing AI, and I agree. The internet is a tool for, you can use it for good or you can use it for bad. Unfortunately, we don't have a remote control that can control the behaviors of every human on the planet. If it was like that, then we'd probably be better off. Unfortunately, the beauty is we're so diverse, and we have just enough autonomy over ourselves to where we can control our own fates. But who we meet, who we interact with, and who we let in and out of our life, it always comes back to us and our choices. So I think, Brandon, you're spot on with that, man. For some reason, I don't think she really had much luck in real face-to-face situations. And I'm not knocking people who use dating apps. I've used them before. But that was what, 20 years ago, 15 years ago. And even then it was dangerous. I didn't know no better then. I'm pulling up, meeting people. I'm just going off the strength that I know their voice and I'm talking to them on the phone, but I'm not necessarily sure this is going to be who this is. I've met a couple of catfish and all that. Like, it's not a joke at all. Fortunately, I'm smart enough to where I would go in public places, though. I'm not just randomly going to meet them in the back of a restaurant or something, or like a secret location where drug dealers go to do their dirt. Women and men like him, they need to understand that, well, in general, if you're going through things in your own personal life, you can't put all of your blame on everybody else. Like, maybe there's some factors that play into why you're struggling, but ultimately you got to look at yourself in the mirror and think, well, am I really, ask yourself, am I really holding myself accountable for why I'm feeling the way I am? Am I getting therapy? Am I getting proper assistance with what I'm going through? She could do so much to improve on herself. I'm gonna say that. I'm not gonna go there. I'm just gonna say we all got things that we can fix about ourselves, and we can actually change them on our own. But what I dislike, and I had to humble myself, and now I yield, it's when a person will know that some of the issues that they have are self-inflicted, but they still refuse to deal with them. But instead, what you'll do is you'll take it out on everybody else. That's unfair. Now, do you want to meet somebody that's compatible with you? Cool. But are you really ready to meet somebody? Are you really ready to have somebody in your space? You can genuinely want something good, but does that mean that you're prepared for it? And her taking him in, it just seemed I finally got something that I can take and I can mold and reshape, and that ain't it. That ain't gonna work.
Another thing with dating, or with using social media, I mean, oh my God, dating apps, is the fact that you have such a huge pool of people that it causes decision fatigue. And so you're more likely to make just like, finally somebody talk to me, so I'm going to make I'm going to go all in on this person. And I agree with, I forgot who said it, but I know multiple people have said it. She probably hasn't had a lot of luck, or she's been on there for a very long time, and so she's tired. And so this person was the first one that showed her interest, and so she just kind of like put all her eggs in the basket. So I know that they've done research on it and shown that relationships born from dating apps are typically less successful than relationships where people either like work together, they did hobbies together, or they were like in the same vicinity and just kept running into each other. When you are able to have, when you're able to know more about this person when you first meet them, it allows you to get a better idea of what they're going to be like, because even like how they dress and how they present themselves and their manners and stuff like that. But when you've invested weeks of time in conversation with this person, your brain's going to think that you know this person, but you don't. So that's why there's a lot of cautions with social media and like truly knowing who you're talking to, because it's so much easier to create a facade on the internet than it is in person. So yeah, she's probably only now learning who he actually is. And even then, people can keep, especially people with his likely conditions, it can be easy for people to put up that facade for a long period of time. Like some of them have patience in waiting for the right moment, if you get my gist. But yeah, honestly, she's put herself in danger. I would not be surprised if he has like emotional issues that potentially could affect her mental or physical well-being.
I want to add this too. I know I want to hear what Brandon got to say too, because I like his take. I like your takes, bro. We can't trip like it ain't been pen pals back in the days. The inmates been getting it in for years, and they was the social media. And I've never been in there, but I heard word spread in prison faster than it spreads outside. And we already know that they've been having relationships. It wasn't nothing. I used to go see my people on the Rikers Island bus. I used to take the bus to Rikers Island in New York. And I've always remembered seeing plenty beautiful women on their way up. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, they was linked up. I remember seeing letters. I remember seeing people send pictures to the inmates, this and that, da 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 da, and they come home. And a lot of times, most of the time, when a guy come home, it look like they do. There's always a one or two women that are willing to take them in, and that's why I can't discredit the ones that who have changed their lives and done good with it, and they've done good with the connections, and they still have positive relationships. Because again, you just get tired. Anytime what it looks like from them again, and I keep saying the same thing. You went in and you came out the same way, and you want to hurt people, and then your significant other is like, well, you know what, you didn't get to do it, so I don't know what the big deal is. Like, you sick too, you know what I'm saying? You need some counseling. You need some counseling, some compassion. You probably need a hug. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no telling. And that's why I don't like to judge people or whatever. Ain't no telling what she been through to make her feel like that or want to link up with people like that. But I don't want to discredit the fact that before social media, people was hooking up. You know what I'm saying? And they might have had it might have been easier to do it before social media, because you could lie. Back in the days, you had to get word of mouth, or you had to, and people knew exactly what was going on, who was what, where they was, and you'd be surprised from in the prison how much they control and how much information they possess.
Look, I'm gonna say this, and we can get up out of here. I wish them the best. I do believe in second chances. I do believe that people can be reformed. Um, I'm not playing Russian roulette like that personally, but to each his own. I'm more cautious about who I bring around me and how intimate I get with details pertaining to my own life, business, and everything else like that. I think y'all brought up a lot of good points here. I hope she don't end up on no type of news. As far as the dude, whatever was broken in him, I'm concerned that whatever was broken in him was never fixed, because the commitment that he put in to committing that crime, a part of me believe like it's still there. I had a clip that I was watching, a black brother. He spent what, 9 years in jail. He talked about how it destroyed his co-defendants. He described two of them committing suicide because they were so institutionalized that when they got out, they didn't know how to get back into the world. They lost their partners, which took them over the edge. The woman that he was married to for 30 years, she stuck it out with him while he was in jail, but a little after he got out, she left him. He talked about the mental strain, took about how long it took for him to even open up. Like it'll deal with people differently. So with that being said, I'm not really sure about bro, but my prayers up. Shout out to everybody who pulled up tonight. Brandon, Max tried to throw his input in. I seen him dropping his messages. Sid, Rob, salutes to all of you. Chef, appreciate you for tapping in.
Always.
Do y'all want to plug anything before we get out of here? For people that want to get in contact with you or anything like that, y'all got the floor.
You know I always got a shameless plug. What? No, man, I just dropped two music projects, rap projects, International Black and International Gloom. International Gloom is on Bandcamp and every other outlet except for Spotify. International Black is on Spotify and every other outlet through DistroKid. It's International Chicken on YouTube, International Rob on everything else. You put the hashtag in, find me. Go scroll through the music, download the songs you like, critique it, let me know what you think, let me know how I can improve, and listen to the progress. And then I got hair. I sell hair weave extensions. All you got to do is call my phone. I'm working on a Shopify, but it's a foreign language. But yes, you can call me and get your bundles for high quality and save some money at the same time. And I appreciate y'all for everything. Thank you, Chef.
I just have to follow that up since you did it too. I also have my book out at Barnes & Noble and Amazon if you guys are interested in reading some of my poetry. This one was kind of a social commentary about living in America right now. So I would love if you guys bought my book. It's called Collapsing Together. And again, Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
All right. Well, look, man, we about to get up out of here. I'll see y'all tomorrow. King's Morning Table. Y'all tap in. Do me a solid before y'all go, if you don't mind.
Push the goddamn button.
Peace.
The flow insane. Take my spot, so the range. Shoot my shot with perfect aim. 3rd degree, that perfect flame. Ain't no sleep, that's the game. Oh, so southern, that's the slang. When they see me, that's the main. Chasing checks and fly like planes. Big old stick, I bought a cane. Flick my wrist and bought the ring. I'm so boss, we're not the same. Paid the cost and kept the change. Now I'm walking Hall of Fame. And I reside in the cloud. Grand wishes with these bitches. Taking pictures with